morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the December 11th, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who serves as vice chair and represents District 1, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. It was a late night last night. Anyway.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. First item, please.
Proclamations, presentations. Number 1, presentation of 32-year certificates to employees of Parks and Recreation, Community Corrections, and Health Agency.
Yes, we are fortunate today to recognize employees with 32 years of service. And I know that they were recognized also at the Association of Counties Annual Conference, but we'd like to do that officially this morning, and so I'll read the names, and if you would come up and receive your award, I would appreciate it. From the Health Agency, Debbie Heiston. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations, Debbie. We could go around to the front if you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Jill Tipton-Bell.
I'm not the Parks, I'm the
Oh, yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Community correction.
Congratulations, thank you.
Also with community corrections, Jean Belinsky. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation. Gloria Cortez Leonard, and I understand she couldn't be here this morning, and Randy Luby is going to accept.
You don't have to clap.
Terry Simpson. Good morning, thank you. Lynn Bishop. Good morning, thank you for your service. Pam Doney. Thank you for your service. Donnie, I apologize. Sharon Hammerlin. And finally, Billy Lou Griffiths. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, do you have anything to add in the congratulations department?
Just our appreciation to your
Yes.
years of service to Shawnee County. It's, 32 years, that's a long time. That's a long time, so thank you.
That's all I'm saying. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
all. Next item, please.
Number 2, recognition of Lynn Bishop, Parks and Recreation, for receiving the Champion of Character Award presented by Safe Streets of Topeka and Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. I'm really pleased to be here today to recognize Lynn Bishop. As you just witnessed, she's been here over 32 years, extraordinary employee. But she last week received the Championship of Character Award from the Kansas Character Recognition Council with conjunction of Safe Streets and the Topeka City of Character honor for going beyond her call of duty on a couple incidents that took place during the Senior Olympics, which she supervises. If you recall, I think I brought that to your attention in September that during a couple of the events we had a bicycle accident where a gentleman had head injuries and was transported to the hospital. Lynn made contact with the wife, the family, stayed there at the hospital during his recovery, and then we received a note back from the family recognizing Lynn's thoughtfulness and caring and going beyond her call of duty on that. That following week, we had a gentleman, 79 years of age, that had a massive heart attack playing basketball. Lynn and her staff, along with 2 spectators, tried to do CPR. They weren't having any success. Luckily, we have an automatic, an AED, automatic external defibrillator, at the community center, and after 2 shocks, we brought the gentleman back to life. He had open heart surgery. Lynn was down there with the family during this time and has also kept contact with the gentleman. Good news is he's doing really well. He lives in, I believe, Oklahoma. And she just goes on. This is just 2 examples of stuff she does throughout the year that probably go unrecognized. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Christy Pancrast with she's the Director of Safe Streets, and she's going to present the award that she received last week.
Thank you, Randy. Hi, Commissioners. I'm Christy Pancratz with Safe Streets, and it's a pleasure to be here to recognize Lynn for her great work. I'd like to go ahead and read this plaque to you. Commissioner Bueller also sits on the Character Recognition Council, as does Sheriff Jones and District Attorney Taylor. So, Lynn, would you like to come up and join me here? As the strength of our nation is dependent upon the health and safety of its communities, the strength of our community is dependent upon the character of its citizens. We, the Character Council of Kansas, in conjunction with the Topeka City of Character and Safe Streets Coalition of Topeka, Shawnee County, recognize Lynn Bishop for demonstrating availability, benevolence, compassion, decisiveness, dependability, endurance, gentleness, initiative, patience, punctuality, responsibility, and wisdom. The Council wishes to commend Lynn Bishop for her outstanding community service in responding to health emergencies at Senior Olympic events. We commend Lynn Bishop for showing by example that good character is doing the right thing, whatever the cost. Lynn, you help make our nation safe, healthy, and strong. Thank you.
Well, as Randy will tell you, I'm a behind-the-scenes person. This award really goes to all of our staff and volunteers at the Kansas Senior Olympics. As Randy mentioned, we had 2 nurses that happened to be in the stands at the massive heart attack at Hillcrest, and one of our staff, Tony Barksdale. They all administered the CPR, and we're very grateful that we have AEDs in our facilities. But I certainly share this with our staff and volunteers. I think anyone would have done the same thing under the circumstances, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Questions or comments on the consent?
I have none.
And either I will move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda as presented by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
New business A, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $1,246,645.74. Some of the highlights from those vouchers are the contributions to Capers for our employees' retirement, payments by the court to jurors. The 911 fee, it's paid to AT&T for emergency services. One of the larger payments was for infrastructure to Schmidt Line for public works projects, IT for World Data, the Shawnee County Sheriff for New World payments, that's the computer software, and also for Taser International for equipment that was purchased, and then payments to special counsel for extraordinary cases. And so I do not see any issue with those vouchers. I would move for their approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers as presented by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 3, consider approval of resolution number 2014-111, authorizing the issuance of a 2015 cereal malt beverage license, including Sunday sales, to the Shack Inc. located at 2842 Southeast 29th Street.
Having reviewed the documentation, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made to approve the resolution by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Human Resources. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-450-2014 with Communications Workers of America, amendment to Contract C-812-2012 relating to wages.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Tumble, Director of Human Resources. Before I get started, I do want to thank Ms. Griner for covering for me on Monday my item. I'm very grateful that we can work together as a team for the betterment of Shawnee County. The item before you here today is the last of a 3-year deal with Communications Workers of America. The agreement covers approximately 30 people in the Sheriff's Office. All employees are paid out of the general fund. This agreement provides for a 1% increase on the first day of the first pay period and 1 step on the anniversary date until the top of the scale is reached. It is effective for the first day of the first payroll year of 2015. Let's see. Employees at the top of the step will receive 2 personal leave days, 1 on their anniversary date and 1 on their birth date. The agreement has been ratified by the union, and if you have any further questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Questions or comments for the HR Director?
For those keeping track, once we ratify this, the only contract left outstanding would then be the Fraternal Order of Police.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I would move for approval of the contract with Communication Workers of America.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Number 2, consider transfer 4 positions from the Park and Recreation Department to the new Facilities Maintenance Department with an increase of $7,000, including benefits.
This is actually a kind of a joint item between Ms. Griner's office and mine. We've had to work together a long time to get this to work out in the financial software. What this item does is it removes 4 PCNs from the Parks and Rec office and moves it into their own department called Facilities Management. The table in the memorandum gives us particulars about the reclassifications of each one of the PCNs. I did leave out one important detail. It is effective for the first day of the first pay period of 2015. There's actually no budget associated with that until that time, so it can't really be effective until that part-time. And that time, I do apologize for forgetting that in my memorandum. If you have any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Questions or comments for Mr. Stummel?
PCN stands for?
Position control number. It's a one-to-one relationship except for people of intermittent status. We have one-to-many relationship in that particular case. That way we can kind of keep track of where people are and what jobs they're doing.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Mr. Stummel. Next
Thank you,
item.
Commissioners.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-451-2014 with the City of Topeka for housing of city inmates.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Department of Corrections Director. Today I'm requesting approval of an agreement with the City of Topeka and Shawnee County Department of Corrections for the housing of city inmates. Since about 1993, there really has not been any type of formal agreement. I'd be honest with you that I was a sergeant at the time in 1993 when I helped the administration at that time, because I was over classification, come up with that agreement at that time. This current agreement does outline the provisions to house city inmates, which includes a per diem rate that would be paid back to Shawnee County. Since about 1999, the per diem rate has been very close and remained the same, of about $73.44. With the increase of costs associated with housing inmates and getting closer to the actual per diem rate, which is about $95 a day, I met with city officials, and this agreement would include approximately about a 4.5% increase to the current rate. Due to the nature of city bookends and releases, we've always broke that down or divided it up by 24 for the 24 hours and charged them an hourly rate, because it's not common for somebody to come in and get out. And because of our relationship, very positive for the city of Topeka, we don't charge them the whole day when the city inmate has only been there for maybe 2 or 3 hours. So we have done, we broke that down to an hourly rate. Also, that is included in this contract, which has been in place, is a processing fee of $5.14, which is a one-time fee for every inmate that is a city inmate that gets processed in. The city, these costs are associated with fingerprints, photos, and housing and stuff like that. In looking at our current numbers and housing statistics, we're expecting an increase of revenue of approximately $32,000, and it could be more depending on if the city housed more people at the Shawnee County Jail. This contract has gone through the County Counselor's Office for Legality and Form, and I have met with Betty Greiner, Financial Administrator, regarding this agreement. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and yeah.
Questions or comments for Mr. Colton?
Director Cole, would you anticipate that next year we would also see an additional increase so that we keep on track and so that we don't have what has happened in the past?
Correct. My plan is to review this each year with the city, and I want to, I don't want to be greedy, but at the same time, I do want to maintain or make sure that we're not losing money in housing of our inmates, and continue to look at cost increase and things like that, yes.
Commissioners, it's my experience that with the city of Topeka adopting the driving while suspended ordinances, we have seen an increase in inmates from the city for those offenses, and so this is something that's probably long overdue.
Yes.
And so I appreciate it being moved forward by Director Cole. I would move for its approval.
I will second. I would ask a question though.
Sure.
Brian,
Commissioner Bueller?
have you been working with Mr. Colson or?
Yes,
or
I
who?
worked with Mr. Colson and Nikki, I think it's Nikki Lee, who is over their administration for budgets and things like that. So I've worked very closely with them.
All right, thank you. Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Next
Item
item,
D,
please.
Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider request for direction regarding the janitorial services contract with Bob's Janitorial.
Good morning, Commissioners. Terry Birtles, Parks and Recreation. Here to talk with you about janitorial services for various county buildings. The contract's up at the end of this year. We do have an option to renew the contract for an additional year, or we could opt to do a month-by-month contract while we submit or solicit bids for contract janitorial services. You might remember that our current contractor we went to after we discontinued the contract of the previous janitorial service provider due to responsiveness, I guess I would say. And I think you're also aware that this contract has not had its, or has had its difficult moments. I think we have reached a point with the janitorial contractor that their responsiveness has improved. They understand what we expect, and we're getting better. If we do the month, if we do not exercise the option to renew a contract or then we run the risk of additional costs, and I think we could probably expect that we would have additional costs. If we renew the contract for an additional year, we give the new person coming in kind of a head start on next year and allow him or her to work through the process early in the year and get it done. However, I know there have been problems with the contract, so the month-to-month option until we get something else in place is there as well. So I'm just here to seek direction as to how you would like for me to proceed.
Commissioner?
Question. Terry, you said we might incur more cost if we go month to month, or?
No, I think we can anticipate that when we do a new contract, that the cost will go up.
Okay.
Right now, if we exercise the option, we are locked into the current price, as we would be with a month-to-month.
Thoughts, Commissioner Cook?
It's been my experience that it's been more than a few headaches over the past year.
Yeah.
The timeliness, the responsiveness, the overall whether or not the contractor's meeting the terms of their contract has been almost a weekly struggle. And I don't know that I'm ready to burden a new facilities manager with a year-long contract with a contractor that they we've had problems with. And so I think that I would prefer to go to a month-to-month, allow the new facilities manager the opportunity to talk with the contractor, see if this can be remedied. If not, send it out for bid for a new janitorial contract. That would be my preference.
And I agree with Commissioner Cook that, there has to be a handoff to the new facilities manager, and I don't want to burden them either with a one-year contract, but that would be one of their first priorities, is to look at maintenance of our facilities and evaluate the performance of people we do business with. So,
Yeah, I would agree.
Is
I
that-
mean, the complaints, I think that the commission receives on a weekly basis sometimes.
Yes.
Rank right up there with complaints about roads or so I would agree. I think we need to go month to month. They haven't been very responsive.
Right, and I would just remind the commission that we let go of the other, well, what's the term I'm looking for? Game in town.
Mm-hmm.
We're caught between the devil and deep blue sea in some regards, I think.
Are there really two vendors?
We've had to,
but is that the whole universe?
no, I think it might be the Topeka universe, but it's not the whole universe.
And I,
Well said.
but again, I don't want to burden the new facilities manager with a year-long contract, and I think getting back to where it's at, letting them work with the contractor.
Okay.
My motion would be to go to a month-to-month contract with janitorial services at this time.
Do we need a motion, or?
That is my motion.
Might as well.
Parliamentarian,
I'll
do we need a
second. I mean, I don't know if
you
we
do not,
necessarily
it
do.
goes to- The contract runs out and then it goes to month.
Goes to month to
Okay.
month.
Okay,
Then let the contract run.
all right.
I think you have your direction.
I do have my direction.
Direction provided.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. Next item.
Number 2, consider approval of request to award bids for the purchase of noxious weed control herbicides in a total amount of $124,061.56.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Welborn, Shawnee County Noxious Weed Department. I'm here requesting permission to award purchase of chemicals for the 2015 year in the total of $124,061.56. This money is available in our current budget for the purchase of those chemicals, and this would carry us well into the 2015 year. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for John?
If I have any.
Sorry. I might just make a comment. He said this would carry us into the 15 year, but it is customary that we buy this product at the end of the year so that we are ready when spring comes.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, John. Next item.
Item E, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 452, 2014 with the Kansas Department of Transportation, allowing Shawnee County to exchange federal funds an amount of $604,429 for state funds in an amount of $543,986.10 to apply toward the Southwest 29th Street between Southwest Indian Hills Road and Southwest Jewish Road project in calendar year 2015.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item, and as you may recall, back in October, we brought up this issue regarding the application to exchange these funds. And just as a reminder, we get each year, the federal government gives funds to the states, who then disperse them to local jurisdictions for federal funds. There were many local municipalities and counties across the state who were unable to use the federal funds due to the local match requirements. We were never in that position. However, since there were a lot of communities that could not use it, they developed a program in which they call it the exchange program, in which it would allow those communities to exchange their federal allotment for state dollars, and what that, at a rate of 90 cents on the dollar. What that eliminated for other communities was that local match requirement. But why we are interested in it, when you use federal monies for certain projects, there's a lot of additional administrative and essentially just red tape that goes along with those dollars, which causes a delay in getting the projects done. And also in our discussions as we were evaluating this, in talking with contractors, doing work on federal projects and the additional administrative requirements that they are required to do, it increases the construction costs. So after we evaluated it, we felt it was well worth the exchange, even though it's 90 cents on the dollar. So this agreement here is the second step to what we did back in October. So this would just formalize it with the state. So that is what our request is today, and our intent would be to use these funds for the Southwest 29th Street between Urish and Indian Hills. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Question?
Tom, I know we've covered this topic before. We've had discussion on why we would do it in this manner, and you've done a great recap of that. The question I have is, when we look at the cost of the project, is the cost of the project going to exceed the state dollars that we're receiving, and are we now creating a 10% gap?
Well, the cost of this overall project is more than just this amount. We will use several years' worth of allotments to apply towards this project, and other funds that we may have, maybe excess funds from other projects that we've completed and came in under budget and had excess funds from those. So it is a combination of several years of this allotment plus funds from other projects that came in under budget. If that answers you, I think that's the question you asked.
It is. And I think thank you.
Move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller, and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Commissioner-
Thank you. Commissioner Bueller.
Tom, while you're at the podium, I want to clarify when I said the comments and concerns about roads and
That
the
caught my
janitorial
attention.
service. I know, I saw your head pop up.
I almost walked out of the room.
No. I think Shawnee County does, I know Shawnee County does an excellent job of maintaining our roads that we have jurisdiction over. But as you just pointed out, we have several different layers of road responsibility. There's the state, there's the county, there's the city, and there's the township. And in recent, this week, I think I've received several concerns about township roads. And people just don't understand there's certain jurisdictions and responsibilities that the elected township board has, and that this body has, and that cities have. And so, yeah, please
Well, you're
don't
right,
think that.
and I mean, I guess now I'm at the podium, this, I guess, is an opportunity. A lot of folks, I think, out there, since we are a township county, in which
Right.
the county is further subdivided into smaller political subdivisions called townships, if they are not satisfied with what they may be getting from a particular township, I think a lot of people think the county commission is essentially an appeals court, and it simply just is not that. And even though we would like to do everything we could, we just simply don't have the authority or the jurisdiction to do certain things, so.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you, Commissioner Bueller, for bringing that up. Thank you. Next item.
Item F, Health Agency. Number 1, consider approval of request to apply for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment's Injury Prevention Mini Grant in an amount of $4,992 for the purchase of safe cribs for infants at risk of sudden infant death syndrome or accidental suffocation because of unsafe infant sleeping environments with no cost to the county.
Morning, Commissioners. Allison Alejos, Health Agency. This item before you is a request for the Health Agency to be able to submit a injury prevention mini grant through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Through the grant, we'll be working to increase safe sleeping practices for infants with the overall goal of decreasing infant mortality. There's many things that families can do, and we know that safe sleeping environments is a very important aspect of taking care of little ones. So with this, we would be able to apply for 128 pack-and-play cribs. It would cost approximately $4,992, and that is the grant request that we are wanting to submit. Low-income families that have babies less than 1 year of age would be eligible to receive these cribs. There's no match for the county, and we do have quite a few families that we serve through our maternal and child health programs, and we feel like we would be able to better their time spent with us if we could do that.
Questions for Allison?
Move for approval of the grant application.
Yes, I'll second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no, and motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next, please.
Number 2, consider approval of request to submit a letter to Grace Med Clinic, Inc., requesting their participation with consultant work related to the safety net system redesign in Shawnee County and explore the opportunity for assuming operations of the SCHA-CHC as part of the safety net system redesign in Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency. I know that you have received a copy of that letter, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to review it. We did share that letter with the Community Health Center Board this week as well, and they have signed off on it. And so I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have. Just to give a little history about Grace Med for those to know about their operations. They are a federally qualified health center that operates in Wichita, Kansas. They do operate 8 clinics currently, and most of their clinics are school-based clinics. But even though they're based in schools, they are open to the public. So those school clinics become clinics that anyone in that community can access. They do have about 20 providers just in their primary care setting, but they also offer dental and eye care within their settings as well, which is definitely a plus and something that we would like to see happen within our community as well. They utilize a medical record. They have a very strong business model that obviously has helped them grow. They have served over 30,000 patients in 2013, and so we know that one of our goals is to serve 25,000 people within the next 5 years. So hopefully with their assistance, we will be able to do that. So I would be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions, Commissioner Bueller?
How was the response from the board? Lots of questions, or?
I think there's still, as you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions still at this point, and this is going to give us the opportunity to have Grace Med sit at the table with us, with Marion Clinic, with the hospitals, and start to work through those questions and figure out what's the best model for our community. So.
Commissioner Cook?
As we move forward, this is a very exciting and scary opportunity. The unknown and change is always, uneasy. But I think that if we look at what are the possibilities, what are the opportunities that we don't have at this point, and what does this present to us, it's a without a doubt, fully support this letter of intent and hope that we can move forward with this entity.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the request, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioners.
Alice. Next item, please.
Item G, appraiser. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 453, 2014 with Esri for annual maintenance and licensing of the Geographic Information System at a cost of $25,300.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Bauman, Appraiser's Office. This item is, we're requesting to pay the invoice for our Esri system. It's the basis for our mapping GIS system throughout the county. Multiple county offices are in need of this, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions?
I have none. Move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Number 2, consider authorization and execution of contract C 454, 2014 with Mark T. Kenny, MAI, with American Valuation Group, Inc. for the 2015 appraisal of the Westridge Mall, 1801 Southwest Wanamaker, and Westridge Plaza, 2130 Southwest Wanamaker, at a cost of $30,000, and that this project be deemed a special county project so that the $50,000 budgeted for 2015 can be carried over into 2016 if necessary.
Okay, again, this one is a two-part request. First, we're requesting to waive the purchasing resolution bidding process and proceed with entering into this contract with Mr. Kenny. And then second, we are requesting that this be deemed a special county project so that the entire amount of $50,000 can be carried over into the 2016 year if necessary. This item has been budgeted for 2015 and approved.
And was there something else?
Just happy to answer any questions if you have any.
And I assume Betty looked at the,
Yes,
proposed
we've had some
way to handle
assistance
it.
both from the county counselor's office in going over the contract, and Ms. Greiner for looking over and helping us with the special project tag so that we can carry it over, and if necessary, if this were to go under an appeal process, I don't see any way that this appeal would be finished in 2015. So the remainder, the difference between the $30,000 for the appraisal and the $50,000 would be for any additional litigation issues that we might have.
okay.
Sorry, I'm going to make just one comment for
Absolutely.
Betty Greiner, Financial Administrator. I just wanted to make clear that if we set aside $50,000 for this project, at the time this project is done and any appeals or litigation is done, any remaining portion of that would go back to the general fund.
That is correct. And this contract also will stop at $50,000, so it's the entire thing. If the fees for expert witnesses, things of that nature go over that amount, it's capped at $50,000 in the contract.
I have
Go ahead.
a couple of items. Number one, I looked at the contract. I would think the email address to Mark should be changed to you in the contract. It has Mr. Hickson as the email address, so I need to make sure you change that. I did some research on Mr. Kenny, and number one, he's an MAI, and from what I understand, that's the gold standard for certification of appraisals or appraisers. I also did a Google search, and Mr. Kenny is a recognized expert in appraising malls. As a matter of fact, the first one that popped up was the Mall of America in Minnesota, and I was impressed with that. So this is a specialized field, and we need an expert because it will be controversial. It will go to the Board of Tax Appeals. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And that leads me to my other question. Will the $50,000 ceiling, will that cover final adjudication of the market value of the property?
It will.
Okay.
From our witnesses' perspective, we will have costs in our own counselor's office and such, but as far as any expert witness fees and travel and the like, that's it, $50,000.
Okay. Commissioner Cook.
Well, I think that, what's the comment? Don't read the blogs. Well, I made the mistake of reading the comments on the CJ online article. And I think the first comment was, why do we need to hire an appraiser? I thought that was their job. I think you've already started to answer that this is a specialized field. This is something beyond what our office would be able to handle, given the complexity of Westridge Mall.
That's correct, and it's the only one we have. We have not a lot of access to this information. We have to go national to get it. We don't have that ability.
And I think that that commenter also followed up there shortly thereafter with, why don't you ask them? And I'm speaking with Mark Hickson yesterday afternoon. He indicated that the appraiser's office had conversations with the Simon Properties, to which they were unresponsive or unwilling to see if we could come to an agreement, thereby necessitating this cost of appraisal.
Correct.
Commissioner Bueller, anything?
I don't read blogs. It's a New Year's resolution of mine, and I renew it every year. Sorry. Sorry, Ally. I don't have any further comments.
Okay.
I agree. Would the motion be then to
Approve the
waive
con-
the purchasing resolution and to approve the contract?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
The carryover?
The carryover.
The special
Piece would be
project.
To approve the project total of $50,000
I'll
to be
amend.
transferred in 15 from their general fund balance or from their general fund budget to this special project.
I will
In the
amend
amount.
my motion to reflect that. Ms. Harper, did you catch all that? Okay, yeah,
And I
Okay.
second that.
okay.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner with the Health Agency again. And I wanted to share some news that we were made aware of earlier this week. The Community Health Center has been awarded supplemental funding through HRSA, which is the Health Resources Services Administration. And you can see the amount is $38,552. The reason we were awarded that amount is because we've been recognized for the quality improvement efforts of the Community Health Center with regards to patient care. We are expected to expend these funds by October 15th, and we have to use them for activities associated with developing and improving QI systems and infrastructure, developing and improving care delivery system. We can't use it to supplant our existing resources. Unfortunately, we can't use it for bonus or incentive for staff for the good work that they've done. And we cannot purchase equipment over $5,000, movable equipment over $5,000, nor can we use it for construction. I think what's most important about these funds that we've received at this is the start of funding and payment to healthcare systems being made in response to the quality of care that is being provided to patients, and being reimbursed by that purpose versus being paid for the numbers of patients that you see. I do want to commend our staff for the great work that they've done in reaching and improving our clinical quality measures over the last couple of years. And without their work, we wouldn't have been awarded these dollars. I'm sorry, that one I don't like. Oops. Just to give you an idea of how the money broke down, because the money was awarded based on 4 different categories. We were only awarded in 3 of those 4 categories. We did receive $15,000 because we use an electronic medical record, and when we report our data at the end of each year, we're using our full universe of patients. Prior to having electronic medical records, we had to pull charts in order to run data. And so for every one of our numerous clinical measures, we were having to review 70 patient charts, paper charts. Now we're able to look at our full universe of patients and pull that data. We did get $5,526 as a clinical quality improver. And again, as it states there, that was demonstrated by improving in 1 or more of your clinical measures. And then we received over $18,000 for having highest performance compared to other health center peers using a risk-adjusted quartile ranking. And what that does, and one of the things that I think is interesting is you always hear the saying, if you've seen one community health center, you've seen one community health center. And as you've heard me say before, the populations we serve all vary. And so what HRSA does is they take our populations and they try to stratify them in some way so that they're comparing us with like organizations. And that's what assigns us our quartile rankings. So just to review a couple of the measures that we see where we've had improvement with the cervical cancer screening and those being done annually, you can see that we had a slight improvement from 2012 to 2013, but we are ranked #1 in that quartile ranking nationally, which means we're doing very well in that area. The 75%, the last column that I have here, is what we've written as our target for our 330 funding, and that's the funding that comes to the Federally Qualified Health Center, and that's the target that we look to achieve by the end of our funding cycle, which is 2017. So we continue to work towards reaching that goal. For patients who are adults and come in, are we screening them and doing follow-up on their weight? While we went down a teeny bit in our percentage from 2012 to 2013, we're still, again, ranked very high in that quartile ranking. Tobacco use screening, you can't get much better than this. We do screen 99.8% of our patients that come in. We do ask them, do you smoke? And then about 70% of our patients, we follow that up with, can we help you quit? So there's another measure that kind of falls under there. Our colorectal cancer screening, you can see we've made some significant improvements in that area. The staff have worked on doing quality improvement activities to help make sure that the providers remember to screen patients, and that also the patients are doing the follow-up that we're asking them to do, and that's why there's been such a significant increase in that area. Diabetes control, although it shows a small decrease in the percentage of our patients whose diabetes is in control, we still are in that high #1 quartile ranking. And then when it comes to access to prenatal care, you can see we had improvement in that quartile ranking, as well as our low birth weight babies. We had improvement in that area as well. So again, I think it's important to take this opportunity to recognize the staff and the work that the staff is doing to make these improvements, and this is something that we will continue to do to ensure that we have good quality patient care. And I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or comments?
Congratulations.
Good news, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Others for administrative communications? Commissioner Cook?
We held a Joint Economic Development Organization meeting last night. It was the final meeting that I was able to chair. Thank you, Commissioner Archer, for allowing me that opportunity.
He said sincerely.
We were able to achieve a request for proposal, and so that was a long overdue task for JDO. And I didn't really have a chance last night to say it, but to those city partners, city council members that were able to be there, whether they were voting or not voting, thank you for your attendance. It's always good to see our partnerships with the city and the investment that we have with city council members that do participate regardless of whether they are voting or non-voting. I look forward to us making continued improvements with JADO next year.
Thank you.
And the city has management of those meetings then coming up in February.
They do. The next meeting will be in February with Mayor Wolgast being the chair.
Commissioner
I
Bueller,
don't have
anything?
anything.
I have a couple of items. Number one, I was going to recognize Commissioner Cook for a job well done as being the JADO chair. And the keys to success, I think, are hard work, patience, and people smarts. And I think you did an excellent job. And I wanted to compliment you on that assignment. The other thing I had on my notes here is that Commissioner Bueller is celebrating a birthday, and I think it's tomorrow. And Randy Luby raised his hand, and so I'd like to ask Randy to lead us. And happy birthday! Thank you, Randy.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sally. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'd also like to thank Megan from the Attorney's Office for serving in JADO
Yeah.
board. I thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me, Commissioner Cook. Next item, please.
Executive session.
There is a need, and I'd like to make a recommendation that we go into executive session for a period not to exceed 20 minutes to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel and employer-employee negotiations. So that is a motion, and let me mention this. We've spent a lot of time in executive session lately, and I know that the Capital Journal had done a comparison of the time that the County Commission spends in executive session and the city of Topeka spends in executive session. And I hate to use a worn expression like apples and oranges, and maybe the term is irrelevant comparison, because the city has a city manager that runs the city. We don't. So I think any comparison is misguided, to say the least. So we are in I made a motion.
Second.
I would ask that we add just attorney-client, anything that we privileged under attorney-client relations,
Okay.
and also preliminary discussions of real estate, just so we hit all four.
So all
Okay, why don't we make it for 30 minutes then to cover all the bases. Motion made to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 30 minutes. All in favor? Oh,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. We are in executive session.
You have items to sign.
You know
So you
what?
comment on
Borrow
don't
your
read the
blue
blogs.
pen, I have a black pen.
I thought it was better when you listened to all the voicemails. What'd you guys do, the letters? I'd never thought of anything in a reporter ever. Ever.
Do anything exciting for your birthday?
I've got 2 meetings, and a ball game,
Actually, I
so.
do comments so that I can go and try and figure out who people are.
So I'm working, basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who are they?
That's all right. I'd rather be busy.
And keep a little list of people as we identify them.
Mhm.
So, you going to Australia or New Zealand or?
No, we're going to exotic in
See, I knew there was a trip coming.
There
It's about
always
that-
is, isn't there?
We're going skiing. I think I told you the last time we did a trip.
You had a tree.
What are you guys doing for Christmas?
You ever heard of Sonny Bono, by the way?
No, we're staying home, yeah. Yep,
Really
we're staying home.
How's your son, Edward? Surgery?
Yeah, he's.
So did you get your
he's
light
in a
up,
brace for
Dashin?
1 more week, so doing rehab.
They're all
and everything,
over.
but he's
What is
doing
it?
pretty good.
They have one that torques.
I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Got everything reattached and
My husband made me promise I wouldn't
so
actually.
For the front
he's
lawn.
not having much pain anymore, so it's good.
For the front lawn.
But it's with his right arm, so, and he's right-handed. So he's kind of like, yeah. So he can't drive or anything. He hasn't been cleared to drive yet either, so it's a pain. So we've been carting him around everywhere.
Yeah.
And his friends have been helping him too.
Yeah, it's time, whenever you're ready.
We're back in session and we are adjourned. Okay.
Do we have any others to do?
We have other commitments.